I'm Huon Hooke, and this is The Real Review. So the wine we're tasting today is the Palliser Estate Pinot Gris 2019, and it comes from Martinborough, New Zealand. Martinborough is, I guess, one of the most well-known New Zealand wine regions because it has quite a long history, Martinborough, but also it's on the North Island and it's not far from Wellington. It's just about a bit over an hour's drive from Wellington. You go across a range of hills and you're there. It's a really warm, dry part of New Zealand, which of course New Zealand's quite a wet country generally, so the drier parts tend to be the places where most of the vines are planted, and Martinborough is such a place. The great vineyards of Martinborough are planted on the terrace generally, and the Martinborough terrace is this flat, stony piece of ground. It's an elevated plateau, and all of the rocks that were there, it was deposited by riverbeds. There are two rivers that have come through the district in the ancient past and deposited these rocks and created these terraces. And because of the rocks and because of the great drainability of the soil, those are very good places to grow grapevines because the soil does not get waterlogged. The only big risk there, of course, is because the land is flat, it can be frost prone. It's a very cold part of New Zealand, so they need frost fans and they need helicopters and various other things. So this vineyard is not an old vineyard. It was created, the Palliser brand was created by a man called Richard Ridderford and his family in 1989. Richard has unfortunately passed on now, and the company is now a public listed company, but it's still making excellent wine. It was one of the pioneers of the Martinborough district, and they grow the usual varieties for that area. Pinot Noir, it's very famous in Martinborough, Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Riesling and Pinot Gris. This vineyard, this winery now has 72 hectares of vines, which is quite a decent sized spread for that district, and 7 different plots of vineyard, all on the Martinborough terraces, and I think 3 of them are now organically farmed. So they're moving towards organic farming in a big way. Most New Zealand Pinot Gris that I've tasted have a fair bit of residual sugar. They're quite sweet, and certainly are if you compare them to Australian equivalents. Let's see how this one measures up. It's quite a fragrant, delicate aroma. Not your rich, spicy kind of opulent Pinot Gris, but more of the dried flowers, potpourri, those sorts of characters. A more restrained kind of Pinot Gris nose. A touch of ripe pear. Pear is very much a descriptor that suits Pinot Gris. Apple, a touch of honeysuckle, and really quite an interesting and attractive nose. And there is definitely a touch of sweetness there, but the wine has good fruit, good flavour, good balance. It's understated. It's not a big, heavy, rich, dominating Pinot Gris. It's a refreshing Pinot Gris. So the finish is clean, crisp and dry, and it leaves you wanting another taste. So the sweetness does not come through on the finish. It's clean on the finish. A really nice food wine. I think that would be very adaptable with food. We scored it 93 out of 100, and that's a high silver ribbon score. We suggested drinking it from now until 2023. Well, it's only 3 years hence, but I think that several more years after that we'd still be drinking well. It's a top rank wine, and it scored 19th out of 111 2019 Pinot Gris from New Zealand. So it's done very well. $31 a bottle New Zealand money, so it's not expensive. Good value. What would you serve with a wine like this? And we asked the winemaker, who is Guy McMaster, what he would like to serve with this. And he said Thai style crispy pork or fresh ginger sticky pork stir fry. So pork is very much the theme there. I would think the Thai style crispy pork would be really good, but I'm sure either of those would work very well. Enjoy.